All right, let's just jump right in. In a little over 10 years, just one man completely redrew the map of the ancient world. I mean, he was a king by 20, a conqueror at 25, and an absolute legend by the time he was 32. We're talking, of course, about Alexander the Great, a military genius whose ambition didn't just forge an empire, it created a whole new era. So let's dive into his story.
You know, this quote, supposedly from his own father, just says it all, doesn't it? My boy, you must find a kingdom big enough for your ambitions. Macedon is too small for you. Wow. Right from the very beginning, it was obvious that his home kingdom, not even close to being enough for him. This wasn't just his dad making a prediction, you guys. This was a challenge.
So to really get a handle on Alexander, you've got to look at what he walked into. He didn't just pop up out of nowhere with this incredible army. No. The stage was set by his father, Philip II. And let me tell you, Philip was a brilliant and totally ruthless strategist. He's the one who took Macedonia from this, kind of backwater kingdom and turned it into the dominant power in all of Greece.
And how did he do it? Well, he had a game-changing tool. This was Philip's big innovation, the Macedonian phalanx. And its secret weapon was an 18-foot pike called the sarissa. That's literally twice as long as a normal spear. So you get these dense blocks of soldiers, and they create this unstoppable, bristling wall of sharp points. It was a revolution in warfare. Philip built this incredible military machine, and it was the very key Alexander would use to unlock the world.
And then, in 336 BC, everything just flips on its head. Philip is assassinated by his own bodyguard, of all people. Suddenly, a 20-year-old Alexander is on the throne, and he doesn't hesitate for a second. He moves with lightning speed, executing anyone who might challenge him. Then, he marches south and makes a terrifying example of the city of Thebes for daring to rebel. He razes it to the ground. Just like that, Greece is back in line, and Alexander can finally turn his eyes to his father's ultimate prize, the invasion of Persia.
Okay, so what happens next? Honestly, it's one of the most incredible military campaigns in human history. I mean, think about it. Alexander leads his army across the Hellespont into Asia, ready to take on the Persian Empire, the biggest, most powerful empire the world had ever known. The sheer audacity is just mind-blowing.
And his advance was just relentless. First up, 334 BC, the Battle of the Granicus. Alexander literally leads the charge himself right into the enemy and just shatters the Persian defenses. A year later, the Battle of Issus. This time he's up against the Persian king, Darius III, in person. And he defeats him so badly that Darius flees for his life, even leaving his family behind. Then you have the Siege of Tyre, a 7-month brutal grind that proved he would stop at nothing. And finally, in 331 BC, Gaugamela. This is the big one. He faces Darius' final massive army and, against all odds, completely crushes it. The Persian Empire was effectively his.
But see, Alexander was so much more than just a brilliant general. He was also a master of PR. When he gets to Egypt, he doesn't roll in like some foreign invader. No, he frames himself as a liberator, freeing them from the Persians. He was smart. He respected their culture, visited the famous Oracle of Siwa, and what do you know? The priests proclaim him the son of the god Zeus Ammon. Pretty good for your reputation, right? And of course, this is where he founds the city that will bear his name forever, Alexandria.
So you'd think conquering the entire Persian Empire would be enough, right? I mean, mission accomplished. But for Alexander, no, it wasn't enough. His ambition just kept pushing him. Further and further east he goes, through what is now Afghanistan and Pakistan, all the way to the edge of the known world, toward the legendary lands of India.
And this really raises the ultimate question, doesn't it? How far is too far? For Alexander, it seems like there was no answer to that. The horizon just kept moving. But for his men, you have to remember, they've been marching and fighting for 8 straight years. They were thousands and thousands of miles from home. The strain? Well, it was reaching a breaking point. And that breaking point came in 326 BC, at the Battle of the Hydaspes in India. Now technically, it was another victory for Alexander. But it was a horrifying, bloody fight. King Porus and his army had war elephants. I mean, can you imagine being a soldier, seeing these giant beasts charging at you? It was terrifying. The Macedonians had never seen anything like it. They won, yeah, but the cost, both in lives and in morale, was just devastating. It really felt like the army's spirit was finally broken.
And look, it wasn't just that one battle. It was everything piling up. Think about it. They'd been away from home for 8 years. They had marched thousands of miles through deserts and over mountains. They'd fought one battle after another, and now they're hearing these rumors of even bigger armies waiting for them further east. On top of all that, a lot of the Macedonian veterans were getting really uneasy with Alexander. He was starting to adopt Persian customs, Persian dress. It just didn't sit right with them. It was a powder keg waiting to explode. And at the Hyphasis River, that powder keg finally went off. The army mutinied. They just stopped. They refused to go a single step further. For the very first time, Alexander's unstoppable will was checked. And not by some Persian king or a war elephant, but by his own men, his own soldiers. I mean, he begged them, he got angry, he tried everything, but they wouldn't move. And so, defeated by his own army, he had to agree to turn back.
So after all that, after years of conquest and that long, difficult march back, you'd think the story would wind down, but no. It takes its most shocking turn yet. The end for Alexander came just as fast and just as unexpectedly as his incredible rise to power. He gets back to Babylon, and what's he doing? He's already planning his next campaign, this time into Arabia. The man never stopped. But then he gets a sudden fever, and just 10 days later, he's dead, at only 32 years old. To this day, nobody knows for sure what killed him. Was it malaria? Typhoid? Was he poisoned? We just don't know. The man who conquered the known world, undefeated in battle, was brought down by a fever.
The story goes that on his deathbed, when his generals asked him who his empire should go to, he whispered, "To the strongest." Now, we don't know if he actually said that, but honestly, it doesn't matter, because that's exactly what happened next. With no chosen successor, those words, real or not, were basically a starting gun for a massive, bloody civil war. And just like that, his generals, known as the Diadochi, or the successors, pounced. They immediately started tearing his empire to pieces. One general, Ptolemy, grabs the richest prize, Egypt. He even takes Alexander's body with him to Alexandria and founds a dynasty that'll last for centuries. Another, Seleucus, carves out a massive kingdom in Asia, all the way from Turkey to India. And back home, Cassander eventually takes control of Macedonia. The huge, unified world Alexander had built, it just shattered.
So, okay, his empire crumbled almost the second he died. You might be asking, then what was the point? What's his real legacy? And that is the most important question we can ask, because his true lasting impact wasn't about the borders on a map, it was about culture.
See, whether he meant to or not, Alexander kicked off a completely new chapter in history, the Hellenistic Age. His conquests were like a massive cultural blender. For the next 300 years, Greek language, Greek art, Greek ideas, they all spread throughout the old Persian Empire. And they didn't just replace the old cultures, they fused with them. This incredible mix of Greek, Egyptian, Persian, and other traditions created this dynamic, interconnected new world. And that impact is just immense. We're talking about Greek culture spreading all the way from the Mediterranean to India. He founded more than 20 cities, and his Alexandria in Egypt became the center of science and learning in the ancient world. His military strategies, they're still studied today at places like West Point. And for 2,000 years, he became the ultimate symbol of greatness. Rulers from the Roman emperors all the way to Napoleon literally looked at his life and said, that's the guy I want to be. He didn't just conquer the world, he fundamentally reshaped it.
Which brings us to the big, complicated question at the end of it all. Who was he? Was he a brutal warlord fueled by a bottomless ego who left a trail of death and destruction? Or was he a visionary who, even through violence, created a new, connected world and spread ideas that shaped our own civilization?